Our next story is from Africa. It's about the entire continent, the youngest and fastest growing continent in the world. About 40% of the people in Africa are under 15 years old, and that is where the future is, the future workforce and the future market. At least one American company has realized this, and it's readying itself for an African future. I'm talking about the global streaming giant Netflix. Netflix is prepared to bet big on Africa, both as a market and as a source of content. The company is expanding its lineup of African content. This means more African stories, both for people from the continent and for the rest of the world. Netflix already has some successful properties, like South Africa's Blood and Water. The show has been on air for years, and it has consistently given returns, even reaching the #1 spot in the US at one point. Another South African success was Heart of the Hunter. The Nigerian film The Black Book was another hit. It was made with a budget of just $1 million, and it became a hit around the globe. The Black Book even topped charts in South Korea and several Latin American nations. Now, Netflix, we know, has global reach. It needs content that can appeal to people around the world, and Africa is proving to be a rich vein of that content. A Netflix official, the company's vice president of content for Africa, was in Botswana this week. He was there for a summit. He said, and I quote, "African people deserve to see themselves, their lives, their cultures, their languages, and their countries reflected on the screen." That seems to be what Netflix is aiming for. But it's not all about representation. Netflix is a company at the end of the day, and the only thing that matters is the bottom line. As I mentioned, they've seen success with their African programming. They've seen African content top charts around the world. That's proven success, and that is why they're expanding their footprint. In 2016, Netflix invested $175 million on productions in Africa, the whole continent, $175 million. For 2022-23, it had earmarked $63 million for South Africa alone. And last year, it announced even bigger investments in the continent. So it's definitely betting big. But will this be enough to win the streaming race? The money and the local content. After all, it's not a revolutionary idea. Netflix is not the only company to have realized Africa's potential. Others have tried, and it's been a mixed bag. Like Netflix's global rival Amazon Video. They're pulling out of Africa, cutting their funding. The African market proved to be daunting for a number of reasons, from patchy internet connections to subscription plans that are too expensive for some local markets. And the biggest hurdle for global companies is the local competition. In Africa, that means Showmax. Showmax is an African company based in South Africa. We've spoken about it before on this show. Showmax is relatively new, but its parent company has been in the television business for years, all across the African continent. So Showmax understands the audience better than Netflix or Amazon or any other American company. And the African firm has used this knowledge to pull ahead. A few months ago, Showmax overtook Netflix in America. They were neck and neck for a while, then they pulled ahead, and they're challenging Netflix openly now, fighting for the rights of local content and butting heads in key markets. Things look ripe for a showdown. So who will win? The American giant with deep pockets, or the local African firm with an eye for content? We'll know for sure in the months to come.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.